So Python includes several built-in container types. For example, lists, dictionary, sets, and tuples or tuples. So in this video, we're going to look at lists. A list in Python is an equivalent of an array. An array is a fundamental data structure that's used in most programming languages, right? They are resizable containers which are able to store more than one item containing different data types at the same time. To construct or to create a list, we use the square brackets, right? And then we enter the values separated by a comma. Okay, so for example, here we've created an object list called LST, and it contains the following values. Okay, so in Python, we count the position of this element from starting from 0 and then 1, 2. So essentially here, this will be the first element in this list. But in Python, when we want to access the positional element, we use 0. Okay, so we want to print again this object, but again, for example, if we wanted to print out a specific item from our list, then we just use this object, then square brackets, and then we make a reference to the position. So in this case, we want to position 2, so 0, 1, 2. So we're going to include this element over here. Okay, again here we can print using negative indices. All right, means we want to count from the end. So for example, here we want to count 2 from the back or from the end. So this will be 1, 2. So we're going to output 1. So when we print this, I can see here we just outputted the list. Then we access this element, second position. Then this was the output for the negative indexing. All right. So let's say, for example, we wanted to, want to access the second position element. So this will be 2. So to do that, we just use LST square brackets, and then we tell Python we want to access the second position. Then we want to replace that, with the following, a string. Okay, this just demonstrates that it can hold different data types at the same time. And then we print LST. So to print that, you can see the output has changed now. Not only we have 3, 1, but now the second element here in our item, in our list, has been changed to 4, which is a string. Okay. Again, if we wanted to add, if we wanted to add a new element, we're going to use, for example, a method called append. Okay, so we can just type here dot, and then of course we use this function called append, right? Since it's a function, we can pass a string or an argument here. So for example, we want to add, for example, bar. Okay, and then we print it out. So we print that out. You can see we've added another string into our existing list here that we've already created. Okay. So other useful functions that we can use is if we wanted to remove and return the last element of the list. So we use this pop function. This pop will just remove the last item. Okay, and then we store this into a new object. Then we'll output that. And then again here, for example, we just want to output the original list here, for example. So this is actually the output. So here X here will just tell us the element that was actually the item that was already removed and what's remaining. So when we print this out, you can see here the original was this, but now we've removed the last item, which is bar, and then now we output what's remaining. Okay. Similarly here, if we want to remove a specific element, so we can pass an argument here. So we want to pop maybe a specific position. So we can just say 1, for example, and you can see here. So our element here is 0, 1. So 1 has been removed. Okay. What if we want to sort? Okay. So sorting is very easy. So we could just, for example, we can create a new list and say this list should contain maybe a car called Tesla, and we can say BMW, for example, and also maybe Volvo. Right, so you can see this list is not alphabetically arranged. So if we wanted to sort this one out, we just use this function. So dot, and then we say sort, right? So we use that, and then now we can print the output. So let's print the output now. So this output should essentially sort this in alphabetic order. So let's run that, and you can see now we have B, T, and V. What if we wanted to insert a new vehicle, for example, in our existing list, maybe Ford, for example? We can use maybe insert. So you can just say cars dot insert, right? So this allows us to insert a new car, for example. But now here we have to specify. You can see here the index. So if you pass your mouse over here, you'll see it just gives you the arguments of what you need to. So it takes 2 arguments. So let's say here we want to insert maybe in position 3. So 0, 1, 2, want to insert after Volvo. So we specify the integer position, index position, comma, and then we specify what we want to insert. That would be Ford, for example. Okay, then we print now our new list called cars. When we print that one, now we can see we've inserted a new item in our list called Ford. Okay. Anyways, so these are the other different methods that lists kind of support. We've already looked at append, we've looked at pop, we've looked at sort, and all these are just different methods we can use. Another important thing that we can look at when accessing lists is called slicing. So how do we want to access an element one at a time? So Python allows us to do something called subsetting. To do this, let's create a new variable called, a new object called numbers, right? So we use this function called range to populate, create a list of integers. So this integer would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then we convert that into a list. Okay, so the first print here just prints the list that we've already created. Okay, this list object. Now, suppose we want to get a slice. Okay, a slice from index 2 to 4. Okay, to do that, we just use this num and then square brackets. And then inside here, we just say 2 colon 4. So basically here we want to get everything between 0, 1, 2. So between 2 and 4. So this 4 is not going to be included. So it should be able to include only 2 and 3. So just keep that in mind. The 4 is not included when using Python lists. Okay. So what if we want to just slice from index 2 all the way to the end? So essentially here we just type 2 colon, and then we don't specify anything. Python will just know that we want to go all the way to the end. Okay. And then also here, let's say we want to slice from the start to index 2. So to do that is the opposite of this. So we don't specify anything. So we just put the colon, and then we say we just want to end here. So here we don't specify the start, but we want to end at index 2. Okay, so it'll be 0, 1, 2. Again, here, this will not include 2. It will only output 0 and 1. Okay, and then here, let's say if we wanted to get a slice of the whole list, this is very simple. We just put a column. So we don't specify the start and the end. So Python will just figure out that you want to output everything here. So we'll just get the start all the way to the end. And lastly here, Python also uses what we call negative indexing. All right. So suppose here we just want to include everything except the last item. So to do this, you just say colon, then -1. All right. So -1 here just means we're going to output everything excluding the last item. Okay. So we print that, and that's the output of all these different slicing, accessing the list, different items in the list. Then also here we can see you can actually assign a new sublist to a slice like this. So for example, here we want to replace this anything from 2 to 4 with the following new number. So to do that, just print that, and you can see we've already replaced what we had here, 2 and 3. We've replaced that with 8 and n using the assignment variable. And then lastly here, we can also use a loop, okay, to loop over elements of a list, right? So suppose we create a new list called animals, and these animals are of string type. We have cat, comma, dog, and bear, right? So let's say if we want to loop through this list, we can easily use a for loop. So for loop just uses just say for, then we can say for item in items. So here we can just say for animal, animal in our object list animals. So this now correspond to this. So here, this is just the items for animal in this list over here. Okay. So again, here, there'll be just colon, and then we print. Notice how Python automatically indents for you. So we print the item. Okay. So when we type this, or rather when we run this, you can see it kind of just prints out the items. Okay, these items are what we refer to as animals here. I could actually change this to item, for example. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so long as you print that out. So we do that, and we'll just look for each item that is included in this list. All right, that's as far as list is concerned. So next we're going to be looking at dictionary.